Will Tesla go out of business? Is the automotive story of the 21st century going to end before 2018? Well, let's look at what has happened and what we can glean from it and what I think is going to happen in the future. So, here's the story right now. Tesla stock has fallen from its highs. Its bond has been downgraded near junk. They're burning through a lot of money. Tesla has literally recalled half the cars that they have made. Jim Chanos, a famed short seller, saying that Tesla is headed towards a brick wall. Other short sellers are really going after the stock. Others have said that Tesla only has months of cash left before they have to go bankrupt. The Tesla Model 3 had faced delays, and that has caused the company to really lose a lot of its luster in the investing market, even though the car is still popular with people. So currently, Tesla is not profitable. They're burning through a lot of cash. On the other hand, Tesla is still the best-selling electric vehicle. They sold 3,000 units in February of 2018. So the Tesla Model 3 is selling really, really well. However, the Tesla Model X has had declining sales year over year. Now, why do I think Tesla is having a lot of problems? It is a car company. You do need a lot of capital. They are using an innovative technology. Anytime you're working with innovative technology, it's going to take a hard time to get all the bugs out of the system. It's essentially the first people who buy Teslas. They're essentially like the field beta testers. You don't know what problems are going to come with the car until they've been out in the field, for 100,000 miles. So Tesla is going to run into these problems, but I do think that these problems, as they produce more and more models, they become more efficient. They'll be able to get through these recall problems, these manufacturing problems. The cars will just become more efficient, become better. But I think the biggest problem that is affecting Tesla is cheap gas. We've had cheap gas almost the entire time Tesla has been in existence, so there hasn't been a real practical need for Tesla. They're more like a luxury purchase rather than a necessity or something that people would look at and go, this is a good bargain. Even with all the benefits, the rebates you get, the federal rebates and tax incentives, it's really not enough to justify this as a smart purchase. However, we are headed towards a point in the market where you can see this crossover point where in the 1990s equities did well and commodities had a lost decade, and then in the 2000s equities had a lost decade and commodities surged. Now throughout the 2010s equities have surged and commodities have had a lost decade. You're seeing now in the middle of early 2018, stocks are beginning to waver and roll over. You can actually see a little double top in the equity market. If the equity market rolls over, and also consider we have the possibility of geopolitical tension in Korea, the possibility of what's going on in Syria as being a proxy war between Israel and Iran, there are a lot of factors in there that can lead to a surge in energy prices, because you could just have problems with extracting oil from the Middle East. If you have war, that naturally sends up any commodity, gold, silver, including oil. If that happens, you could see a very, very rapid rise in gas prices. I mean, the last time we had gas prices really, really high in California, they were hitting $4.50 a gallon. On the East Coast, $3.50 a gallon. Those price we could easily see if we have geopolitical tensions in late 2018, early 2019. We could see gas prices hitting $5-6 a gallon in California, $4 a gallon everywhere else in the country. And all of a sudden now, a Tesla Model 3, an electric car, becomes a much more attractive purchasing option. Especially since the car is somewhat affordable. It's not as affordable as a Honda Accord or Toyota Camry. But if you consider the fuel savings, a Tesla Model 3 all of a sudden becomes a lot more attractive. Now, a Tesla Model X and a Tesla Model S, gas efficiency doesn't really play into the purchasing decision because these are six-figure vehicles. But on that Tesla Model 3, that's enough to really make Tesla maybe not cash flow positive, but bring in enough cash to keep the company going. Additionally, Tesla is a very powerful brand. They probably have the most powerful automotive brand in the world. People love Tesla the way people who use Macs. They love the Apple brand. They're just people who love the Tesla brand, and that's enough for Tesla to be able to find a lot of cash infusion from private equity, from people who are willing to, throw in a couple of $1 billion to maybe get a part of the company. So I really don't consider Tesla to be on the verge of going out of business. They may have to bring in private equity to keep the company going. And there's always this possibility, if and when, I mean, gas prices will eventually go up, but when they do, all of a sudden Tesla just becomes a more practical option, especially with the Model 3. So overall, I do not see Tesla going out of business. While they may run out of cash, their products are simply too good, and they may become too practical to cause the company to be liquidated and to essentially go out of business. So yeah, if you own Tesla stock, it's going to be a very, very rough ride. But if you're willing to ride out the rough ride, I believe that this is one of those companies that I'm more willing to bet on a company like Tesla than some other conventional car companies that are just sort of, they have no real vision. And you look at companies like, all the American companies like General Motors and Ford, they were pretty much ready to go, and Chrysler, they were pretty much ready to go bankrupt a decade ago, and they were basically saved by government bailouts. And a lot of the European car companies, they really have to merge in order to stay competitive. So, Tesla may have to merge with someone, or Elon Musk may have to sell a chunk of the company, but I think Tesla is going to be around for a while. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.